if you've ever experienced having a question about how brave you are. I know for me, I have had this question throughout my lifespan, depending on what was going on. And so I thought I would talk a little bit about that today. How are we brave every single day in midlife in ways that we probably honestly have forgotten? And so my name is Jen. I'm a transformational revolutionary midlife coach. And what I do is help women really kind of reconnect with the places and spaces inside themselves they might feel like they kind of got lost in the shuffle. And really, the women that I work with are people who have been so successful and they're juggling all these different things in their lives. I call them layers. And so what they're doing is they're kind of so in the thick of the weeds of all of things that they sort of have maybe forgotten themselves or maybe lost touch with the fact that they are brave or they're doing incredible things and need to kind of reconfigure, right? So that's what's revolutionary is deciding to have a different kind of experience of midlife than the one that makes us feel like we're in a crisis state. So it is my passion to create a space where we can come in and feel empowered again and really feel connected with what they're going to do and bring in the world. So today, we're going to talk bravery. When I pick this subject, and each month I have a theme, I get like hella excited about the change of the month, and I get like all fired up to come in and talk to you all about something new and novel. It's just really fun, right? Keeps things fresh for me. This is one of my favorites. And I've said it about a few things, but this is definitely one of my favorites. Why? Because when I was creating all of this, I realized how often you're actually being brave that you probably don't realize. So we're going to talk about that today. So if you've missed anything, I have been a little bit incognito here. I had surgery. It took me a lot longer than I planned to recover. So I've sort of been like in the background of life, bravely taking time away to take care of myself because I was healing. So this month, the way that I defined brave was this: breakthrough to reawaken your fire and assert your values through embodiment. So it's really about walking the talk, right? So it's not just speaking brave language, but it's having brave action. And I'm going to challenge you because I want you to take a minute. And if you missed anything, go back and catch. I have a session that I talk about, a vlog where I talk about bravery through the layers. And I have this week was awaken your fire. I think that's right. I think so. Yes. I was making sure I was right. So go back and catch those for some of the pieces. And this week was actually really lovely because it was very experiential. So go back and catch those, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of our time today. But today, I wanted to remind you about the ways that you show up. So I want to tell a quick story. It's like a little anecdote. And then I want to identify ways that I've seen people show up so bravely in their life. So this last weekend, I spent the entire weekend, yes, you heard that right, in training. So it has been a minute since I did a traditional, like, all in training. It's been just a minute. And so I am in the room full of licensed marriage and family therapists and licensed psychologists and social workers. And we're all kind of in there together, right? And probably some LPs and some other things mixed into that, some other letter, some things. And so it is always really interesting to kind of go and be in that space again. So I have always wanted to train to learn hypnosis. And the big thing I wanted to understand was the difference between hypnosis and deep meditation, which is very interesting. Conversation for another day. But here's what's cool. This is why I'm telling you this story. So in this room of however many people are attending it, you get the privilege of not just learning of course, like the subtleties of hypnosis, the steps to doing it, right? How to drop people in, what trance looks like. You talk about the ethics behind using these tools, all that stuff, right? But one of the things you always have to do is you always actually have to practice. So you don't just get to learn it, you have to do it, right? And so you're sitting in a room full of really educated, seasoned people. And so it's so funny, you're broken off in these small groups, right? And there is this, palpable nervousness in the community. And it's super funny because the way that they're training for the hypnosis, the group that does this training is literally using hypnotic suggestion from the time that you start the journey. They're talking about how comfortable you're going to be doing your group sessions. Not an accident. And you might think, right? How does a room full of people, right, who have been trained and seasoned and know how to do this stuff, why are they nervous? Like, no big, right? But they were. I don't know that I met a single person that was not so anxious as we headed off into that first group. It is so hard to feel on stage with other people, right? And so I love talking about this, and I sent it in my email this week because I think we can look at other people and say, oh, it's easy for them, right? It's easy for her or him to do whatever it is that they're doing. And the truth is that anything that looks easy took practice to get there. And anybody who has a hobby, a passion, a love for something that it pushes you to the limits gets this. But I just really want you to think that how cool to me to be in company like this and see everybody freaking out. And it's so human. It's so human to go, I don't know this skill. I know all those skills, but I don't have this skill. And now I'm freaked out because now I got to say and do this in front of someone. What if I make a mistake? What if I sound stupid? What if the teacher says something that's critical and I'm embarrassed? Like I can think of all these things, right? So it was really a beautiful reminder to me that we're doing brave shit all the time and you might dismiss it. And so today, this is like my bravery pump up your jam session with you all. That was really powerful for me because it'd been a minute, like I said, since a really traditional kind of training like this, where it's like all in and it's weekend and you're doing, practicum kind of vibe in it. It's been a minute. And so I was really grateful to see the humanity, and what it did was it validated how I was feeling, and it allowed all of us to find some coping around it, to crack jokes, right? Or to be really, really conscientiously kind to each other. Like, wow, that was a fantastic session. You did that so well. And so to me, there was this really beautiful camaraderie that kind of built with time because of this discomfort, right? But everybody there had to be brave. Everybody there had to put themselves on the line and hope to God that you felt like you knew what the hell you were doing. And if you didn't, you might learn a thing, right? But still scary as hell. I love that I'm 48 and I can still feel like, ooh, like I just don't want to do this, right? Okay. So that's one really beautiful example. And I'm just dropping it in because it just happened this weekend and it really struck me because it'd been a minute. I was like, yep, I forget how deeply uncomfortable it is to train to learn to do something new. So, but I want to talk about the thing last week that struck me because I think maybe this is the spot that maybe it was like, oh, in the feels. So one of the most brave things that you do every single day that you're probably not giving yourself credit for, and I really want you to think about this for a minute, is loving other people. And here's what bravery means to me. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but I came up with a quote that I really liked, which is really bravery stands for doing things where you're not assured of the outcome. That's really what bravery is. Bravery is standing firm in doing really scary shit with zero assurance that the outcome's going to be what you want. And so with that kind of a mindset, I invite you in to imagine the places that you probably do this without any kind of awareness that you're doing it. And last week in one of my mind spaces, I was thinking about one of the scariest things we do is love other people. And that probably sounds like, what do you mean? What do you mean scary, brave to love other people? Because we're not assured that we'll be loved forever. We're not assured what kind of love they'll have for us. People pass away, right? People change their minds. So for me, I just recently had a friend of mine that I did a training with years ago, really, really adore her, married to her best friend and soulmate, 2 kids together, and just found out this week that her husband just passed away. I don't know the details of it. It's none of my business. But what I do know is that we are talking about someone whose life just literally changed on a dime, right? Her life and those of her kids are completely altered. So I just want to think about, right, when I say we bravely love others, this is what I'm talking about. Like shit happens, right? And yet I'm guessing you don't get out of bed every day and go, okay, brave action today, love others, right? Love others. How about another one? People who got married or have a partner. Are you assured that you're going to stay married and that it's going to be successful? No, nobody is. I think that was one of my biggest anxieties walking down the aisle was, oh my God, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? Right. And even though completely in love, completely rooted, Zach was my best friend, like all the right things were there, I still remember that deep fear for a moment, and it didn't stay. But this like, holy shit, we are not assured this thing is going to be a thing. Right. Okay. So this might apply to you. It might not. You might be a single person. Have you loved friends? Have you had close friendships, right? Have you traveled to novel and new places? Have you been outside the country? How about, and this is a good one, how about have you been a parent? Are you blessed to be a parent or decided that you don't want to be one? And that's cool too. But if you are a parent, did anybody hand you a fucking book? Because I don't think they did. I didn't get one. If you did, you better tell me somebody's in trouble because I didn't get one. I didn't get an effing manual. I figured out every single little bit of that on my fucking own. And so I just want to say that I think that there's spaces and places in our lives, even within the layers of who we are, that we are being challenged and we take for granted that we're actually doing and stepping into something really effing brave. When I think about starting my private practice years ago, I was about 30-ish years old. And I'm going to tell you something. The odds of a successful psychotherapy practice, not very good. Many psychotherapy practices do not make it beyond a year. Those are the odds. You're starting this whole thing. You've got this whole vision. You've got this scary dream that you want to have come to fruition, and you're not assured of an outcome. I was not assured we would be successful. And so these are the things that I think about for each of us, right? And this looks different for all of us, right? Like I said, some of us aren't married, some of us don't have kids. I get it. But you'll get when I say things like, maybe you got a job offer in another country or across the United States, and you had to leave every single thing that was safe and comfortable to you to go do that. I have a client who chose that on her own during the pandemic, packed her shit up, and felt the urge to move out west. That's bravery. That's bravery. She was not assured of anything. She wasn't assured she was going to like it. She wasn't assured how her career path was going to go. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about, that you're doing on a really regular basis. And I just know that we dismiss it, that we're like, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. You're actually practicing brave action all the freaking time. And you're probably minimizing or dismissing it, right? So I am thinking of a client who just reached out to me. And she was like, I'm in the same field as you. She's a social worker. She's like, I want to do what you're doing. How do you do that? That's brave. It's brave to think outside the box. It took me years to decide to move outside of my box, out of traditional psychotherapy practice. I created it. I nurtured it. I had a good reputation. I had a great client following. I had steady work. It was just successful. And so I think it was really scary to me to have this, like, what's happening, something's not right, but then also to decide to make a freaking pivot, because I could have stayed. And for a long time I did, for all sorts of reasons that we're not going to talk about today. But I get so excited when another person is like, I'm ready to lean into something that's scary as hell. It's my favorite. I want to open a new business. I want to start something that doesn't exist. I'm here for the person who is ready to have that kind of transformation that says, you know what, I'm going to bravely step into something that I'm not assured of. And the thing that I really want you to think about is all of the places in your life that you're already doing this. If you have a passion and you live into it every day, that's bravery, right? Raising children, bravery. Partnership, bravery, right? Whatever it is that's in your heart that you're living into and taking action on, that's actually bravery. And being vulnerable, bravery, right? In a training full of other professionals that you're worried are silently judging you, which they're not, because they're so in their heads about their shit. They're not judging you because they don't got time for that, right? So many things. Starting a new place, starting a new job, moving to a new city, all of these things full of bravery. And why do I say that? Because I think in midlife, when we're covered with so many things that are kind of going on, right? All the juggling, right? We've talked quite a bit about this. As you get to know me and you follow me, you'll kind of know that I'm talking a lot about that juggling that we do. It's easy to forget that you have bravery wired in. And so then we feel like we have to summon up all of this incredible strength and energy, which you're probably already wired with, number one. And number two, that you give yourself permission to call upon that wisdom, right? That's the biggest thing about midlife for me is wisdom. So when you got here by doing the things. We did the shit already. So if I look back and I'm worried about starting something new, I'm worried about making a transition in a career's path, I'm worried about starting a new relationship with someone, whatever it might be, look at your history. Look at your history. Where in your life have you already done some really brave stuff and survived it? Where did it work out in your favor? Maybe it didn't always, but did you die? But did you die? Right? I mean, this is the question, but did you die? No, you didn't. You learned something, even if it didn't go the way you wanted it to. When I have a client that's working on relationship issues, there's this reminder of like every single thing you're learning that isn't going the way you want is your teacher. It's preparing you. So can we have a different relationship, right? This is all thinking about a relationship we have with these pieces of our lives. Can I think about it differently? Can I show up differently? Can I have permission for myself differently? Can I have curious compassion? Can I step out into something? Oh God, this was so great. Great story. And then I'll close because y'all have things to do. One of my clients over the weekend that I had to provide hypnosis for in community was a middle-aged woman. And one of the things that she mentioned when we started talking as a group, we started talking about the things that matter to us and our habits and our things that bring us joy, and all these things, so that when someone provided us hypnosis, they had some wisdom to kind of call upon. And one of the things that really struck me that was really sweet was she talked about she was taking tap dancing lessons. And so she was my last client, which means I had the most time with her. And so it's the end of the weekend. It's Sunday afternoon. It's beautiful outside. Everyone's tired. We are tired. The brain's full. Like, you're just like, oh, please, Jesus, I just got one more thing to do, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? And so she's my client, and I'm prepared, right? I'm all up in here. I'm in my chair. She's in her chair. And okay, cool, good. I got this. Like, I can do some relaxation, some confidence, and whatever, right? We've already been doing this all weekend. We've got this. And she looks, and I said, so, what would you like to work on today? And she goes, well, I'm kind of tired. I've got to get home. And so I think I'd like to be energized. This is me. My face looks, I don't even know if she was looking at me. I thought, oh shit, are you kidding? Here I was in this total mind space. And this is such a great case in point. Oh, I'll do what I've already done. It's easy to do relaxation because I do that with meditation. I've been doing that for years. Easy. And she totally flips the script on me. Now she's asking for what she needs. Brilliant, right? And I'm panicking. I'm like, oh shit, no one's talked about this. No one in hypnosis is talking about getting somebody energized for the end of their day. Holy shit, right? Now I got to punt. And it's the end of the day. And it's taken like every single like lick of my like energy and my mind to do this, right? And so as I'm thinking about her, one of the things that really stands out to me is this tap dancing, the bravery behind taking a dance class midway through life, right? So it's the thing I call upon. Praise Jesus for that wisdom, for her to feel energized. And I get her dropped in, and we're deepening her space. And then I have her go to tap dancing, and I have her imagining the music that she's listening to. And when I tell you, she has a shit-eating grin on her face from ear to ear. So beautiful, like just light and energy beaming out of her face. She is so in it. And even though it scared the hell out of me to have to like alter my script and take her to a different space, her reaction and seeing her face and her joy and her deep connection was like, and then I was so in it. She dropped in and then I dropped in, right? And so I want to talk about, right, there was this moment where there's this kind of panicky energy, like, holy shit, but what if I mess this up? And no one taught me this, right? There's this whole like you're looking around for someone to save you, like a life preserver. And it's just you. And so to me, the last teacher we also had was very much challenging us. He was like, try something you haven't done, do something that you're a little scared of. Like, I'm here, there's no judgment. Like, this is it. Like, this is playtime. Like, go in. The most beautiful hypnosis session ever. And watching her come out of that, and the light in her eyes, the joy in her face, the demeanor in her body, everything was like, I'm alive again. And so I just want to say that again, in these really small moments, you are doing brave stuff all the time. When you reach out to someone to ask to connect or collaborate, when you start a new endeavor of any kind, this is bravery. And yet we'll look, and if you asked someone, I'm willing to bet that 9 times out of 10, someone might have this like hem and haw kind of idea. If you just walked up to someone and said, hey, are you brave? They'd go, but forget to list all the ways that every single day they wake up, they're being brave. every single day. Every single freaking day that you wake up and you do something that really matters to you, you are being brave. You're already wired with this. You're wired with this. It's willing to take risk when you're not assured of an outcome. And so I just wanted to share this because last week it was really on my mind and my heart. And I was thinking so much about this, about the scary ways that we kind of do things and lean in, and we aren't assured that it's going to go the way we want at all. We are not promised. We are not promised a certain outcome. We're not promised tomorrow. Right? I had surgery. Was it brave? I mean, necessary. I don't know that I would say brave. It scared the hell out of me. I'm going to be honest with you about that. And it wasn't like life altering, right? I don't want to be like scary about it. But anesthesia scares the hell out of me. The women in my family all were like, we don't tolerate it well. So, or pain meds. So I was like, okay, like I have to do this because I know it's important, but I really don't want to, kind of a thing. And it did not go as planned. They got in there and the mass that they removed was bigger and like deeper. And it was kind of a thing. Like, well, so, right. Now, when I first figured out that this was something that I had going on, she was like, okay, we can either do it in the office or we can do it in an OR. Now, I like the OR because it means that I can get all the parameters of whatever is in there and it's safer. And I like that it's, sterile, all that, right? And so I was like, this is me like, oh, but we can just do it in the office quick. And you could just write. But something in me said, don't do that. Don't do that. Let them do it in OR. So even though I was scared shitless, I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So I listened to my intuition, which for some reason rocked me that way, even though it scared the hell out of me. And what's really powerful about this is that when the surgery was done and she came in and said it was actually bigger than we could see, there's no way she would have gone into that in an office and she would have been like, if we have to come back out, I have to like sew this back up and we have to come back and do it in the OR. So I would have had to go into surgery regardless. So praise Jesus and all that I somehow miraculously decided to do that. And then it knocked me on my ass for a couple of weeks because it was a bigger surgery than we thought. And like my other shoulders impacted. It's been weird, right? It's been weird. It happens to everybody. It's not a big deal. But I'm just saying that I think that even in those moments where things like that, it's like I'm not required, but this is the right choice to make to go have this surgery taken care of. It's still scary as shit. It's still scary as shit, right? I can opt out of those things or I can trust that this is important, right? And so I want to encourage you as we close for today to really take this notion with you into your like week. Really notice where you might be leaning in to bravery on a really regular basis and you completely forgot. Right? So tell me, come back and tell me, where did you notice that bravery was showing up? Is it in how you freely love people? Is it in a passion that you get out there and do, even though it might not be great, right? My lovely woman that was my hypnosis client who did tap dance and had done it only as an adult is a new thing for her. She is not assured she's going to be awesome at it. She didn't give a shit. She did it because she was excited. And to me, that is still bravery, right? When we move through things that way. My client who's working with me and is like, I am a social worker. I want to lean into healing modalities and I'm not sure, but I know that I'm being called to do something different. That's freaking bravery. Moving across the country by yourself, bravery, right? So I just want to be the reminder that you are doing more than you're giving yourself credit for. That creates bravery. And that with time and age and midlife, you then get to have kind of this experience of success with it to allow you a bigger springboard into something that might be even scarier for you, might be a little more challenging, right? So my hope is that the successes build enough that you go, I got this. And if I don't got this, I'll figure it out. Right? That's midlife wisdom talking. So I just want to drop in here because it was one of those weeks where stuff was really sitting with me. And of course I've been kind of down and out and I've been like healing. And so I've had a lot of space from work proper. And this idea of you living in a state of bravery all the time that you've probably forgotten really landed for me. And so I hope it lands for you. I hope that you're in a space where you can receive this, that you are doing brave action more than you ever know, even identifying when it's a hard minute for your life is bravery. And so just give yourself some credit and give yourself where, dues where they're coming in, because it's important for you to see that you are standing in bravery in a way that you probably don't recognize. You've probably forgotten, you take it for granted. It's so natural for you, right? Um, so I want you to just sit with this idea. And then I would love for you to share with me the brave things that you feel like you do. And I've missed a whole bunch. This was like skimming the surface. So if you've got another one and you're like, you know what else I'm doing that's brave, Jen, this is what I'm doing. I freaking love that. And what I really think is important is that when we're willing to step in and talk through this, we allow another person to come in and say, hey, I'm brave too. And this is how I'm doing it. That's how we inspire each other. It's brave for me. I broke my leg on a horse, but I got back on, right? I don't care what it is. Like, right. We have so many stories of this, and so many people that you know in your own life and in your own story, have you done these brave actions, right? Okay. So that's where we're going to start. Now, if you want access to the vlogs and things that I mentioned earlier, and I said, oh, they're out there, so I'm going to tell you where to go at the end of the time I'm chatting today. You head over to my website, laughinglotuswellness.com, and you go into the purpose tools. All of the videos, all of the vlogs I think I've ever made are housed there. It is a gigantic library. It is a gigantic library. So you're like, oh, bravery. That sounds interesting. I'm going to go in and I want to tap into that. That's where you go find all of those. Super easy to access those. So help yourself to that library. That's a really great place to kind of start the journey. But if you're feeling like you're like, you know what? I feel the need to be brave in a big way and take a big action step, and I'm scared as hell and I don't know how to do that. That's where you reach out to me. And let's get on and do a revolutionary midlife reset call, because this is what I love to do, is help women transform their journey, right? Their experience of midlife and where they're going and how they're doing it. I help women remove those blocks that are getting in their way. And sometimes that looks like thoughts, old stories, conditioning, all sorts of stuff, right? Experiences and layers of midlife, the stuff we're all juggling. That is what I help women do to see through to the next step. And one of the great ways that we can get that started is by having one of those calls. So I would love it if you are interested, reach out to me. There's zero obligation. I guarantee you I'm not going to hard sell you shit. I don't do that. But if you want to hop on a call and start that journey and talk through how I might support you in moving forward in that direction, I would love to do that for you. Private message me anywhere and I will get back to you and we will get that ball rolling. And I think there is a work with Jen place on my website that I'm right now not sure about the address, so I can't give it to you. So there's a great place that has like a little like form to fill out so that I know a little bit about you before we hop on a call. But I welcome you to reach out to me and take that brave step, right? You know that there's something that you maybe need to do. Maybe you're not feeling as fulfilled. Maybe there's things that are kind of running around with you on a regular basis and you just don't feel as vital as you want to be. That's a great time to reach out and have that call with me. So I welcome you to do that. So until next time, everyone, it's so good to see everyone. Be back in the saddle. It feels like I have been out of commission for so long doing this healing process. And so it's so nice to be back. And please, like I said, feel free to reach out anytime and let me know if there's anything that I can do to support your journey. But until then, sending you blessings, love, and light from me to you. And we will see you next time as we work on this beautiful midlife revolution. Take care, everybody.